Greetings and welcome to The Thirsty Mage, the podcast that's continuing to milk the excitement over the impending launch of the second Switch. Welcome to the podcast. I'm David Lloyd, and in our continuing coverage of the Switch 2, we will now take a look at the GameCube catalog that's coming to the Nintendo handheld and provide some spoiler-free reviews of the titles that'll be in that NSO library. With me this episode to help review the upcoming lineup on Switch 2 is one of the busiest men in podcasting, Casey Gibson.
Oh man, I love GameCube games. It's so funny, right? Like GameCube was always like we need it. Like surely it'll come. And finally with the Switch 2 here, and some good games too. They're not skimping out on us. So I'm excited.
Yeah. And taking a short break from Xenoblade X to talk to us about these GameCube games, it's Paige Chamberlain.
Yeah, I'm about 70 hours in now. I think I put it down for a little indie game. And then I've sort of started getting back into it now that I have spent all my money on the level 50 skulls and had to just run around while I was waiting for more money.
I think you guys should wait for get to the final boss and then just... Oh, I guess Paige, you might not... You said you're not getting the Switch 2 right away. I was going to say you should play just the final hour of Xenoblade on the Switch 2.
Well, I was considering... I put down, because it's easier to get a pre-order in Australia, so I just put down the one place that lets you just do a deposit. For a Switch 2, because I'm like, I'm sort of like, the price might go, Xbox and PlayStation 5 have both increased their prices instead of decreasing them.
Sure.
My car got sick at the exact cost of a Nintendo Switch 2.
Bugger car, eh?
Yeah. So I don't know about that anymore.
That stinks.
I was like, I got a back pay. I have a bit of money.
Yeah, nope. Well, the good thing is, if it's pretty easily available by you, even if it's a little bit after launch, you know what I mean? I know sometimes with the Wii, right? It was like you had to pay scalper prices for years after that thing came out. So, yeah. But no, I don't know. I'm excited for the Switch 2, man. Woo-wee.
Yeah, I wasn't sure whether I was just going to wait for Donkey Kong at least or something, because it's just more for me. I didn't get to talk on this about how I felt about Switch 2, but for me, it was just I'm not taking the week off of work for Mario Kart. I was excited for the Direct, and then I was a bit let down before all the pricing and all sorts of other miscommunication. But yeah, the one thing that is exciting is the GameCube games getting added to the NSO, especially the expansion pack, but I'm on that. Especially, they made sure to show off some pretty expensive games in their initial day one lineup, which is good because those are the ones I don't have.
Well, yeah, it almost felt like they were right with Fire Emblem. With some of these Pokemon games, it's these are super expensive. So yeah. I wonder if their choice was hey, let's release, these games people want, but it literally costs hundreds of dollars to acquire. Because yeah, I mean, I guess Fire Emblem is pretty popular now, but yeah, no, it's encouraging, I guess, too, just that they're not going to hopefully hold any punches, even though there's a Wind Waker remaster for the Wii U, which I know is very old at this point, but it just seems like something Nintendo we don't want to release that when people could still buy it,
Yeah, that's a whole... I mean, I'm talking about Wind Waker first. That's a whole weird thing with, they've done games that are straight ports, they did Pikmin 1 and 2 as a bundle, but then they remade Metroid Prime 1, and then, I think a lot of people are upset that Wind Waker HD is not what we're getting.
Not the HD, just the normal Wind Waker.
Yeah, we're just getting original Wind Waker. I'm not surprised by that. I do think it's very funny that either Tingle feature does not get to exist, because in the original Wind Waker, you've got the Tingle tuner, and you can connect a Game Boy Advance to it to just like do some stuff in the game. And then they obviously, for some reason, they didn't just use the gamepad for the HD, because that was on the Wii U, but the HD version, to just do the same thing. Like, you would think that would make sense because you've got the extra screen, but no, they decided to make it a Miiverse thing, instead of changed it to sending Miiverse messages, which like doesn't even work even if you have the, the Wii U version of the game anymore. They shut that down the year the year the Switch came out, like months, like a couple months, and it was just like dead before they even cut off the online. So I think it's funny that like that they're both even this way, it's still lacking, because I haven't seen anything. But there have been some things with the NSO things where like they did the Super Mario Advance series and they included the e-reader stages and stuff. So it seems like sometimes they put in the extra stuff when they feel like it. I mean, sometimes they just give us untranslated games. So I don't know, but I don't think they're gonna
who the manager is that week.
I don't think they're gonna come up with any way to like make the Tingle Channel work. It's just gonna be like how I played it as a kid, and I didn't realize that was something. You know, there's a few games I have where I totally like I didn't have the cord, but if I could have gotten the cord, like there's stuff I could have done with my games that I had no idea.
I was a hook, line, and sinker Nintendo fanboy back then. So I had all the cables and stuff, and I don't remember using the Tingle tuner that often. So I feel like you didn't miss much.
Yeah, but it's still, you know, it's like a little thing that's not there. I was trying to remember, and then I guess some other things with both those HD, we're only getting one of the Zeldas at the moment, but like with both those HD things was they, you know, streamlined some of the other quests. I think Wind Waker HD had a faster sail.
That was, I think, the sail, I think, is the biggest thing that people are gonna like. I guess I haven't read too much of what people are upset about, but I assume that's probably it, because that definitely makes things a lot quicker.
And there's
for, traverse.
You've got to collect like pieces of something, and there's like a lot more in the original version. I was trying to remember because I know Twilight Princess HD has like the stamps that you collect for Miiverse.
Like, dude, those were fun. I always liked those stamps, but
I don't know if Wind Waker had it though. I'm trying to see Wind Waker HD.
Even just a little thing like the inventory being on the gamepad was like a big deal because you could move, like you could switch things so quickly with that gamepad.
Yeah, honestly, the gamepad was dope. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was Fisher pricey. And, you know, I totally get how with the whole Wii U and the pad and this, that, and the other thing, why it didn't work out. But the functionality of the pad itself was great. Especially, like, it's funny, right, with playing Xenoblade, which, you know, Paige and I have been doing. On the Wii U, like, you just always had the map down below, right? So you could go to the Frontier nav and, like, change your probes really easily. You could, like, see the map and what direction and where to go. Like, it was very nice, and you know it works well. You know, with the Switch version, the remaster here. You know, obviously pulling up the menu, like it's not the worst thing ever, but you do miss it. You know, if you played the original, it was really nice to just always have access to the map there.
I kind of wish that there was more integration with like mobile apps or something that you could like.
Well,
when you
what did I just hear from David?
I know, no, just as a supplementary thing,
Who are you?
Like, it would be kind of neat to have like
now in your Switch 2 edition of Wind Waker, not HD.
Log on to the Nintendo Today app to get a code.
Now you can have GPS instead of Tingle GPS.
Yeah, that's right.
For an extra $20.
I feel, I don't know. Like, I could see it would be kind of neat just having like your own gamepad. Like, well, I'm thinking of like Wind Waker HD specifically. Like, you know, if you have your Switch and docked and you're playing Wind Waker HD on the screen, and then even you had like your mobile phone next to you, and then it had like the inventory system that you could just click on to switch, or if you just flip to the map or stuff.
I've got it.
What you're trying to say is you want Pocket Edition on the Switch 2 and then the inventory for your characters on your phone?
Yeah, like some kind of like just something that you can...
I've got a better idea.
You heard it here first. He wants it. He wants Pocket Edition.
Switch to camera, and then it has a corner that shows your face, like your body, and then they have an inventory system where you have to move your hand in the camera to pick your inventory.
Oh no.
That would actually be awesome. They could bring back Zombie U.
Everyone's buying Xbox Connects to connect them to their Switch 2 via the dock.
Oh man, it's so funny. I feel like that is going to be such like a non-factor, that whole chat button with the camera and stuff.
Yeah,
like, I'm sure there will be people who take advantage of it. But, like, come on.
Apparently Discord is going public, so maybe more people will.
Yeah, the insider knowledge. They knew Discord was on the end of its time almost.
Yeah, I know some people would definitely use it because I see, some groups of friends all playing the same game and like, oh, that'll just be easier than trying to like mess around with using the alternate app. But yeah, I feel like for a lot of people, we're not really gonna use that. Or usually, if I'm playing with my friends, they're in my house.
Yeah. Well, I'm not convinced that it's gonna stay connected at all. Like, there was times where I was trying to just play like Super Smash Brothers on the Switch, and it was just chugging along like one frame every 30 seconds. At sometimes, like, it was just ridiculous. Like, it was just the connections would drop, and they expect like the new Switch to have 5 different people connected, all with streaming their games. Like, and it's funny too, because they joked about how like, oh well, it looked awful on the trailer because that's the real thing. It's like, I think they showed best case scenario on the trailer and it still looked awful.
Yeah, yeah. No, they definitely couldn't imagine. They showed just like flawless gameplay and then you got it. It was just like, oh no, looks like Scarlet.
Yeah, it'd be hilarious if they just they just edited the whole thing to have like Switch 2s on top of each other, so it looked like it was like 5 screens of 120 FPS.
Yeah, like
4K.
This is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not a person who I don't really do the game showing off thing unless we're like playing a game together like Final Fantasy or something, like a cooperative, something where I'm trying to get help. Or I think back when I was still, if like, you're working on something together, like a game guide or something like that.
Snipper clips.
I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people do just like hanging out and haven't shown the games to each other, but I don't really do that.
Yeah, I almost feel like this feature will be good if you're just using it like an audio chat. Like,
I would prefer that, but I'm worried it's just going to take up all your screen space. Like the way that layout is, that's terrible. I hate it.
I guess I mean, I don't know. I haven't looked into it, but I guess my thought would be like, if you went audio only, there'd have to be some sort of different overlay, like sort of like Discord, right? Where it like just has sort of like the names in like the top left corner or something. And then like it highlights when they talk. I would hope they'd have something like that. It is Nintendo, so there's a very good chance that isn't always the case. But like, to me, that if that's not the case, then hopefully it's something they can fix and adjust later. Because that would be absurd if like 20% of your real estate was taken up by just boxes that said someone's name.
It's funny too that it seems like a very Nintendo thing to do, to have like, oh, you can stream to your friends, but no, there's no streaming or Twitch or YouTube integration at all. Like, it's just you get four is the max that you can stream in front of. We do not allow any more than 4.
There's no reason to buy the tariff-ridden Pro 2 controller, because you can just use the Switch 1 Pro controller.
I'm sucker. I got one on order.
You gotta wait for the next Xenogame variant controller.
Well, actually, it's funny because I had my day one Pro controller for the Switch, and then it got the Drift, and Perry actually got me Tears of the Kingdom Pro controller, which is it's actually pretty cool. It's got like one white handle. But anyway, yeah, I did pre-order a Pro 2 controller. I got suckered into it.
You got peer pressured.
Well, it was really one of those, like, the Pro controllers are, like, give Nintendo credit where credit's due. Their Pro controllers are amazing when they don't drift. But when they're, like, working, like, they're amazing. So I figured, right, I play with the Pro controller a lot. It's going to be a little annoying to have to do the use a different controller to turn it on. I know it's not the end of the world, but, like, Kate's going to play some games with me at some point. So, like, having two operational Pro controllers is not, like, the worst idea, you know?
Yeah. So we talked a little bit Wind Waker here. Have either of you? So I'll go through the list. I haven't played most of these games, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like F-Zero
this
GX.
Were these your PC?
These were this was like prime PC days. So this is my Nintendo blind spot. Like I actually own a GameCube. I have a few games, but this was purchased long after probably the GameCube was even going. Like it's the GBA GameCube. I was there playing I don't know, Knights of the Old Republic and Command and Conquer.
And now you're all GBA, man.
Yeah. What's the other games that were probably around that? Max Payne. All those.
Do you say Command and Conquer? StarCraft, maybe?
No StarCraft, but definitely a lot of Command and Conquer. Like I think I played 3 or 4 games. Red Alert, yeah.
Then what? I think Tiberian Sun was the follow up. I definitely played a lot more. Red Alert that was like my jam.
Yeah. So all those. These would be new. Like if I end up, obviously I'm not going to switch to right away. But Soul Calibur 2 though I did play. I must have played it on PlayStation.
Oh, see, you didn't get the version with Link. I actually, I was going to go back. So as a kid, I had the GameCube. I was a GameCube kid. There's a lot of characters that I just, because I was very, I guess, uncurious as a kid. Probably a good thing because I didn't have my own money to spend, But I would see certain characters in Smash Brothers, and I just didn't think that they existed outside of Smash Brothers, even though I knew the other characters did. So to me, Captain Falcon is a Smash character. Samus was a Smash character. Kirby was a Smash character because I'd never run across one of their games.
Yeah.
I think one time, Dad had brought home the Metroid game, and I was like, "Whoa, they got a game for that."
They gave Metroid her own game.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Never touched F-Zero until 99 came out. I did get recently, actually. I'm kind of regretting. I got Soul Calibur 2 for my last birthday because I went with the Zelda theme. So I wanted that because you have Link in it. Because there's Link in that version. I think you got one of the Tekken guys in one, and
it's Spawn.
Or is it a later Spawn?
No,
Spawn for Xbox.
Spawn for Xbox, and I think it's said Hayashi Mishima.
Yeah, that's the PlayStation. You know what's funny though? You'll like this, Casey. Cloud was supposed to be in that spot for PlayStation 2, but the licensing deal fell through.
That probably would have sold so much.
That would have because I remember back in the day, GameCube sold way better than the other ones because Link was such an iconic. Every Nintendo fanboy with a GameCube bought freaking Soul Calibur 2. You know what I mean? If it was Cloud, oh my god, that would be so much better, dude. I would have sold gangbusters, I think, if it was. But I played the crap out of this game back in the day because it was definitely for me. Actually, I guess when did Soul Calibur 2 release date? So this came out in 2003 August, right? So I would have been right around 13, 14. So this was probably when I first started caddying and I could actually buy games, you know what I mean? So I was definitely very into the GameCube and more specifically, I guess the DS more than the GBA. But yeah, this game, dude, was so good. And it was my first Soul Calibur game. super good. Like, and not only is it cool with like, I mean, the exclusive is cool, like clearly, but like there's just so many cool characters in Soul Calibur, like Nightmare, Valdo. Like, there's a bunch of dudes, and like the weapons are super cool. I don't know. I always loved Soul Calibur. We need more of it.
I like that you can, you know, like, because it's like a literal arena fighter, unlike a lot of them where it's like, you know, they just sort of go up against the wall. This is like got the whole ring out thing. I think that's one thing I like about it.
Yeah, it's
that's
nice
the
you
thing
can
I remember
turn.
Most about it.
Yeah, turn the tides of battle real quick if you're in trouble. Like, whoop, the old flipperino.
Yeah.
But this is going to be amazing to play with online features,
yeah,
right?
That
Like,
too, yeah.
Like that, I think, is going to be really cool because, yeah, I mean, I just looked. The last Soul Calibur game was 6, and that came out in 2018. So it's been a long time.
Wow.
I didn't play 6.
It would be more of a nostalgia play, I would imagine, you know, back now that it'd be like,
this
oh,
version,
you know,
I'm sorry, this version of Soul Calibur doesn't have 2 years DLC, so.
But
how about Super Mario Sunshine? What is that? Is that number 1 or number 2 on your Super Mario list?
I always joke that it's number 1 because I really do love Sunshine, but it's probably not the best one. But it's still awesome that it is coming this way, right? They did release the 3D All Stars collection that they released for like half a year.
Did you get that?
I did. I actually recently sold it. For like $80. Yeah, not bad. I actually made money on it technically. But yeah, Sunshine's good game, and like I like wonder if like hopefully we'll get a lot more other like Mario games. Like I see right. Obviously we got Strikers, but like they should really get like Mario Baseball was really fun on GameCube. I'm trying to think like the Mario Golf games. Like honestly, they should just like I hope they just keep releasing more games.
Well,
you know what I mean? Because like GameCube really does have quite a few bangers.
We'll see how many how quickly they come to the shop, I guess, once it launches.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like sometimes it's like nothing, and then there's a whole bunch of games, or it's like here's a game coming out, we've got to wait a week, and then meanwhile with the last Fire Emblem, they're like it's out today, surprise! So you don't know.
It's like they throw a dart at a board. Like, all right, this game will release in let's throw a dart this many days. Okay.
So yeah, for me, well, I got Mario Sunshine. Actually, I played it a bit as a kid. They put it in that limited collection as well.
So weird.
I think one of the more interesting ones for me is they've got. I didn't know they also had Pokemon Coliseum. I just saw the sequel, Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness, which is one I don't have and I haven't played. I'm not really a big fan of that.
Those are both expensive.
Yes, I'm not really a big fan of the art style change in XD because they just make it look a bit lame. Especially because, like, if you played the start of Pokemon Coliseum, like, especially as a kid, it's just, like, the epitome of cool. Like, the start of the game is, like, this cool-looking guy, and you bust in with explosions and steal something from a gang's base, and then you get out in your giant motorbike with your, like, Umbreon and Espeon on, and it's, like, just you leave and go out to the horizon. And, like, that's so cool. And then I look at, like, the main guy of this game, and I'm like, ew. I see him the way some people probably look at like Rex in Xenoblade 2, where you're just like, oh, what's this funny looking little kid?
Who says bad things about Rex?
But his clothes are horrible. I hate them. But there's a character in Coliseum that I know is Pokemon XD, Mirabee, who has I like his theme song a lot, so it does have me interested in like being able to actually play it. Because yeah, like there's a few of the games on this list are just like I don't have it because spending more than $200 on a game is a bit much for me personally.
Yeah, especially like an old GameCube game.
Yeah, that's what I was actually being kind of funny though. I was like, being like, no, I don't want to spend $120 on Mario Kart and then I go and get a $120 Nintendo Wii game instead.
Mario Kart Wii, thank you very much.
Well, these Pokemon games are tough too because like they're not as fun when you can't bring your own Pokemon in. Like because that's like Coliseum, right? Because I remember
You've got to, you steal Pokemon in that game. It's so cool. But yeah, it is. I know it is notoriously a bit harder. The entire game is like double battles, which I don't think clicked in my head as a kid. Like I knew because obviously that's what you're doing, but I didn't think of it as being like, oh, the whole game is that. I didn't beat it obviously, but yeah. So that does change the way. Yeah, the people do find it actually kind of tough. Especially when they're trying to like do it quickly or like a challenge, and then you're like, oh, it's not as easy
Not
as
a
the mainland
pushover.
games.
Well, like the Nintendo 64 Stadium, I guess it was Pokemon Stadium. I remember it was way easier bringing bring in my beefy 100 Pokemon with like the best moves, and I just come in and trounce everybody. But then when I wasn't importing my own, like the ones you had to rent, the rentals were
like,
brutal.
here's this level 8.
Yeah, well, like you could rent level 100s, but the moves were crap. It would be like, oh, Pikachu still has Thundershock, Thundershock at like level 100. Like, no, that's bull. Like, I bring in my Pikachu and he's got like Thunder and
that whole lineup of like console Pokemon games is interesting. I remember playing Battle Revolution, which was more like the stadium games, except they don't even have like the fun mini games. So it was literally just like battles.
Like a battle sim.
But like I got stuck very early on because there's one where your Pokemon get sort of related, like so both you and the opposing team. So you just like randomly get assigned Pokemon from that pool, and I would never do any good. I'd always get the bad ones. So I need to go back to it and try picking bad Pokemon intentionally and see if they get my bad Pokemon or not.
I've never played the GameCube Pokemon games. I feel like I was like not in Pokemon mode at all during the GameCube era, so I never played these ones. But all the more reason to pop in and check it out. So I'm definitely excited. Again, those ones I know were heavy hitter. I mean, any Pokemon game really cost a lot secondhand, so I'm sure there'll be lots of people. It'll be their first experience, you know.
And it's funny with Luigi's Mansion. I didn't realize there wasn't a Luigi's Mansion version on the original Switch. I always thought because 2 and 3 are on there, right?
They made it for the 3DS. When the Switch was already out.
Yeah, maybe that's what confused me.
And then they added Luigi for a co-op. So the only way to play
Luigi.
So I know Nintendo did their weird corporate speak when it came to Wind Waker, like saying that, like, you know, just because we're putting it on the NSO doesn't mean we can't put it on the store. But everyone's like, well, you're not going to. But like I do, and this is the one I'm more sad about that compared to Wind Waker, is just because it'd be nice to play Luigi Mansion 1 co-op at a frame rate higher than like 7.
Did you play Luigi's Mansion back in the day?
A little bit. Again, I was quite a wuss of a kid, so I never like really got pretty much anywhere. I also really, as a kid, I really liked just like messing around in places. Like, you know, front areas, really the starting cool game town. To explore. And you know that's a bit scary for a kid. I think I did get to the baby finally, like the first boss, but I was always just having my mind blown by my mind blown by the little things like having a Game Boy Horror. When I take a picture in the mirror, I get teleported. Like I was just going, whoa. But yeah, it's good to have it. Since, you know, the other two Luigi Mansion games are Switch compatible. But
I would almost say I'm not like the biggest Luigi's Mansion fan, but like I feel like the original is the best one. Like I remember playing 2 on the 3DS and just feeling like overwhelmed in the sense that it's like every room I'm checking, like I can open drawers, I can move this, that, and like I just felt like, oh my god, like this is all I do is go into a room and just like try and vacuum every little thing. And maybe that was it partially on me, like not being able to just go into a room and move on. But like, I don't know, the original one I felt like was like, it was only like a 10-hour game, you know, but it's like shortened to the point, you know?
Yeah. I actually own this one on GameCube. I think I bought it for my kids to play, and they didn't get into it at all. But I played for a few hours, and
honestly,
it was
10 hours
right.
might even be too long. You could beat the first one in 6.5 hours. They're saying.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it was around 7 or 8 was what I heard. But yeah, I think I played about 4 or so because I remember. I think there's like 4 bosses or something that I had vacuumed, something like that. But I mean, it was a neat enough game,
and a launch title.
Yeah, right. Chibi Robo. I don't even think I've seen a gameplay of Chibi Robo, let alone played it. So.
Oh well,
I played that back in the day.
Oh, in the day. Oh, but you didn't keep your copy.
I told you I was a nerd boy. I played Chibi Robo back in the day. I got the one for the 3DS. That was fun too. Whiplash or Ziplash?
Ziplash, yeah. I for that one actually, I imported the amiibo from Japan because the only way to get the amiibo was to buy it with the game bundle, and I didn't want the game because the reviews are so bad for that one.
Amiibo, I think, is worth a pretty penny now.
Yeah, he's actually one of my few amiibo I keep in the box, which is kind of a shame because he's actually really nice, and I'm just looking at him.
He's gonna put my kid through college.
I've only got a few that are in the box because I keep most of mine out. But like, his I really like the background art because it's like he's just sitting down in a park next to a baseball and stuff. And I think I've kept Box Boy in the box just because how much.
Well, the Box Boy I definitely is.
Unfortunately, that's from the era when the amiibos had a little cardboard tabs so you couldn't scan the NFCs in the box, and they stopped doing that, so Cessa stopped caring. Yeah, the only other ones that are boxed are like the gold ones, and some anniversary Marios. But otherwise, they're all out.
I only have a couple amiibo left in general. Like the 2 on my desk here, I've got Majora's Mask Link, and then I've got Cloud.
I have almost all of them, although when I've been looking through my collection, there's been some that I don't have, and I don't know whether they got lost or I just assumed. Because when they came out, I was like, I'm just getting who I want, and then I was getting so many, I'm like, well, I'll just get the others. But yeah, because I was like, I got all the Smash Amiibos to finally finish that, so I'm like, put them all in order, and then I'm like, oh, where's Yoshi gone? Did I not get Yoshi? And then I was looking again. And my kid was pointing out, I'm like, I don't have Mario Party Luigi. So at least the ones I'm missing are not expensive, but it is like, where the hell? And I'm like, maybe I didn't buy Mario Party Luigi because I already had. But I just assumed I did, so I feel like maybe a couple went. I don't know what happened.
The great amiibo mystery.
But anyway, Chibi Robo. I never played the original. I didn't know about it until much later, and it was expensive. I did play a little bit of Park Patrol, and that game really stressed me out, and I hated it. Because of the charge thing, and like you're walking such a long path, you could barely do anything. It reminds me of like playing Moon RPG a bit. Like you've just got so little stamina, you can barely get anything done during the day. But I am really interested in Chibi Robo. It's a very cute looking game and a nice, interesting premise. And yeah, I've always been interested in it, so it's nice just to have it officially and be able to play it without having to spend I think it's even gone up even more in price recently because I'm like, oh, that game was like $300 and now look at it's $500 and I'm like, oh, okay,
yeah,
now it's really not happening.
$225 best offer.
Oh man, yeah.
Well, there's one more game left on the list of what we know so far anyway. And this was the game that was most interesting to me because my recent Fire Emblem kick. So I'll talk a little bit in depth with this one, and this is Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. Have either of you guys played Path of Radiance?
No.
I owned it back in the day, and I played some of it, but I could not tell you whether that. I mean, like I was definitely into Fire Emblem, so I don't imagine it was just an hour. But like, I don't know if it was like 4 or 5 or whatnot. But yeah, I never saw the end of it, sadly. But
okay.
But I did play it back in the day. The first 3D Fire Emblem game.
Yep. Yeah. So this So yeah, basically, it was announced. I'm on my Fire Emblem kick. I was actually thinking of playing Fates. I actually started Fates, but then I realized I had the wrong Fates. I had the bad guy one, Conquest.
No, don't do it. Don't do it.
No, I stopped. I played up to the point where it splits and she has to choose, which side to go
which
with,
family.
and they're like, and I chose the good guys, and they're like, well, you don't have that version of the game, and I'm like, oh, so I turned it off.
Oh, so
So funny.
you don't have the special cartridge with all 3 in 1 that came
I
with the
had that
special?
one. I
No.
had that one.
I still have
Dude,
it.
that gaming experience, when I look back at it, it's like the biggest fever dream I've ever had that lasted like 200 hours. I played those like back to back to back.
Oh my
Oh
goodness.
man, yeah, that'd be
I
rough.
think I took a short break between the second and third, but like not that long. Like I definitely literally played like 100+ hours of like Fire Emblem like real quick. And
it felt tough too. Like
yeah.
even at even the beginning missions, I'm like, man, they're not fooling around here. I don't know if I chose. I'm pretty sure I just chose the normal difficulty, but it felt harder than the other ones. But I mean, that's not. I ended up shutting it off again because I had the wrong versions, and then I had Path of Radiance, so I'm like, forget it. I'll just play Path of Radiance. It's fine. Very glad I did because it's incredibly good. It's when you're kind of comparing it to other Fire Emblems, this one is kind of in the same vein as the GBA games, in the sense of like. So the game starts off and you're in this mercenary group, and the main character Ike is he's the protagonist of the game, and his dad is like the mercenary leader, and he gets again, there's not going to be any spoilers. This is all early game stuff for the story. His dad gets killed by the enemy, and so he takes over the mercenary group, and the way it works is, it's your regular mission. There's 29. I think there's 29 missions in the game, 28 plus the final. I'm pretty sure, and then it's the maps are pretty neat. They have a good there's nothing too complex, but you get a good range of them. Like I remember one being in the city. The early ones are in the city, and then you get out to the sea, and there's like ones in the forest and stuff, and castles and all that stuff. So you get a good amount of those. The combat is again like the GBA style, where it's a weapons triangle. So you have your spear and your axe and your sword. And the way the weapons work is that they break. Like they have a certain amount of uses and then they break. And permadeath. So when someone dies, that's it. They're gone.
Yep.
So yeah. I only lost one person throughout my playthrough, unfortunately. It was funny too because there was a couple missions where I'm like, oh, that guy died, and like screw it, and I just like restarted and restarted the chapter because I didn't want to lose anybody. But this particular guy died partway. Like it was a very long mission, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this again. And he was one of the main characters, so I thought like maybe he won't be permadeath. We'll see. And then I got there and like, no, he's gone. Like he's in the story still, but he can't fight anymore. Like
he's 6 feet
he's not in my he's not in my roster. And yeah, there's probably like 30 or 40 people you can recruit. Maybe 30 actually, because I think you start off with like 10, and then almost every mission you can get someone new. I missed one person because for whatever reason, it didn't clue into me that it's like, oh, this is one of the Fire Emblems where it's like easy to recruit people. Like there's like obvious recruitment people, and I'm like, oh crap, I missed that Pegasus night at the beginning of the game, and I'm like, I'm not going back for her. Forget that. And then I missed a second person because there's a second person early on that you need the Pegasus night to recruit. So there was 2 people I didn't get, unfortunately. But
what a bum.
Yeah, but I really did. Well, the thing is it's funny because I'm like, oh, I want to recruit everybody. So I have this like huge roster, 30 people, and then
you never use any of them.
I never used any. I had like one set team of 12, and I'm like, nobody outside that team of 12 ever was used.
I like in Fire Emblem Engage, you can talk to the characters after the battle, and they'll be like, "I'm ready to fight anytime, boss," because like you haven't played with them for like 7 levels. And you're like, and it's not happening anytime.
Getting real
soon,
bored
buddy.
over here.
Yeah. No, there was yeah, well, it's funny too. So there's one of the initial characters, Titania. So she's a paladin, so she's like on a horse and stuff. And she is a tank. Like it was almost like a get out of jail free card with her. Like it was just like, oh, I'm getting beat up. I'll just send her out. She'll kill like 5 guys in one turn or something. Like they'll all attack her, and she'll just tear them to shreds. She could do like multiple things. Like she could use an axe, and she could use the spears. And I was just like, man, like I leveled her up so fast. Yeah, there's just a bunch of characters that I was ended up. I figured, because I've played a few Fire Emblems now, and it seems like the main protagonist is the one that has to kill the end boss. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to start leveling up the main protagonist. I kind of blew this in the first couple Fire Emblems I played, where they were kind of under leveled. So I was building up Ike pretty good this time, and there's a little bit more focus on like inventory in this game, because so you there's like a story beat, and it shows like sometimes there was what do you call them, full motion video. There was like videos, I would say mostly at the beginning of the game and at the end of the game, but there were some pretty neat full motion videos. And then you get your story beats, and then they go to this phase where you're at camp, and you have to basically like go through your roster and be like, okay, who needs new weapons. Like there's a shop and a forge, so each time you're at the base you can forge a new weapon, and you can only do that once per turn. Everything. Yeah, so you gain money after the turn, and you're like, okay, I could buy the weapons, or I could forge my own. And you can forge stronger weapons than you can buy, but they cost a lot of money. And then there's the convoy, so you can drop items, and there was a whole skill system that you could apply, but I didn't really bother with it too much, other than like a couple specific ones. Like there was one skill that allowed the character who had it to always attack first, regardless of whether or not they were the initiator of the attack. So that was pretty useful. There was just like so many like high risk, high reward ones, like, and I'm like, I'm not screwing around with this. The one that I loved the most though was I gave Titania, because she was already OP to begin with, but I'm like, there was a skill where sometimes her attack would drain the HP from the enemy and add it back into her. So that's why it was like she was never dying this game, because like she could get attacked, and then she just defend herself and suck the HP out of everybody, so it was all right. And then there was some, like the story was really good. The only thing that was disappointing to me is that the ending was setting up a sequel. Like Radiant Dawn came out on Wii, and it's basically a continuation of the story, so there's a bunch of story things that don't get resolved at the end of Path of Radiance. So that was kind of disappointing, because I'm like, there's a couple things where I'm like, well, what happened with this and what happened with this, and then I like Googled it. I'm like, I gotta play another game to find that stuff out. Like I was so mad.
It's actually really funny. So I closed it. So the GameCube game, the one you played in, they both have something in their name. That's the Radiance and the Radiance. Yeah. So Radiance is like $500
Oh my god!
But the Wii game is about $200 So I don't know. Crazy. Maybe the Wii game isn't as good if it's $300 less. So, we all know the dollar value of the game is how good it is, right?
That's how you know Mario Kart World's going to be good.
I was reading the Wii game's pretty hard. Apparently, like it's a higher difficulty. I think,
something. It was. I thought was it that one where they called hard mode normal in the English release?
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
So you pick normal
monsters.
Yeah. Well, and then I guess people because this was Wii, right? So people were expecting motion controls, but I guess there was none. It was all like just D-pad stuff. it looks like Path of Radiance, like on just on the Wii. So I mean that's fine for me because I wasn't really into the. Back in the day, I guess when it was a big thing that the movement was neat, but now it's like forget that.
No, thank you.
No thanks. So I mean that's like you said, it's so expensive that GameCube game that it's great that they put it on the NSO because I think this is a amazing game.
Showed off the the more expensive, like the Pokemon this game, Chibi Robo. They were like, here you go, you want
anti-scalper releases.
Yeah, and it really is.
I mean, even GX, right? We didn't talk, I don't think, a ton about F-Zero GX, but that's an expensive game. I'm looking like $65 for the disc. You know what I mean? Alone. And honestly, F-Zero GX is an incredible game. If you guys haven't played it, like that's definitely one to check out.
Yeah, I haven't never played that one.
Is that one confirmed to be right at launch?
Yeah, I think so. I think the list that I had there that we talked about was all confirmed launch games, I'm pretty sure.
Poor Fast Fusion, man. The Fast RMX guys. It's like they got to compete against Mario Kart World and F-Zero.
Yeah.
They're still going to get my $15, I tell you what.
Supporting those indies.
Yeah, dude, Fast RMX was amazing. So I hopefully this game would be pretty cool too.
Yeah, well, the good thing is like if they can get, I guess it's unfortunate in the sense of like all the Switch 1 games are there, so anyone launching a Switch 2 game still has to compete with the tens of thousands of crap on the Switch 1.
Yeah, the shovelware.
But the thing is, I bet you the catalogs are going to be separated. Hopefully, because if there's like a Switch 1 catalog and a Switch 2 catalog, then maybe like the early release folks for Switch 2 will at least have like that initial,
won't be fully full of crap.
Yeah, like they'll have the exposure. Because I remember like the indies that were releasing early on Switch 1 were like making like gangbusters.
Oh, bank, yeah.
There just wasn't much out there. There wasn't much on the eShop when it first launched. So you get
Room in the Night Sky, baby.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I wonder if there'll be like a toggle button. Like, you know what I mean? Like it should default to just Switch 2 games, but then like you could like toggle on Switch 1 games or something, you know?
You're asking too much of Nintendo.
Yeah, a toggle. We didn't think of the toggle when we made the Switch interface. How are we supposed to have
made of money?
Yeah,
we can't afford that.
That's going to be an extra $2 a game.
Yeah. Toggle edition, $50 extra.
Oh, that's a whole other thing. The upgrade prices are like, oh no way. And then there's like the ones that have DLC, and it's like I'm not paying $30 for Jamboree TV or whatever the Kirby content is. That's a whole indie game. Get out of here.
In America, it's $20 USD for the upgrade with like the extra bonus content.
Yeah.
So I guess for me, like I don't have Mario Party Jamboree. And I don't think I would pay extra $20 for like the camera games, but for Kirby, like it's actually like from what I've read, like a pretty sizable and like actually like content heavy update.
I'm gonna need to be convinced because that's like it's remixed stages. It's sort of like what they probably should have just done with the post game in the first place, where it makes you go through the stages again. So
I think it was supposed to be like the Luigi DLC for gosh, which one did is it new Luigi U, right, or whatever?
Yeah,
something like that. I think I heard it's sort of in that vein where it's like, yeah, like they're remixed, but it like I guess it does enough to feel like not just like, oh, this is just literally the same thing, sort of recycled. But I don't know. I really like that game a lot, and it's been a while since I've played it, so I'll probably be motivated to jump into it. But I could definitely see that like a $20 to $30, depending where you live, upgrade fee definitely being sort of tough to swallow.
Yeah, I didn't. It's like I'm like, oh, like if I get it on launch, I can finish Tears of the Kingdom, and it's like, oh, you want me to pay how much to make it look nice?
Do you have you don't have the family or the Plus N64?
Oh yeah, so that one I don't have to pay for. That's right.
Yeah. So you'll get both Zeldas
but
included in that.
Other games, and then for
Correct.
example, like I'm already seeing it like. So the general upgrade, I think, just the Switch 2 version is $15 Australian. So like, and then on retail they add an extra $5 on top of that because I'm already seeing like Grand Bazaar, like the stuff by Marvelous and stuff, and it's like 20. It's like I can buy a special edition for the Switch for Grand Bazaar at the same price that the regular edition for Switch 2 is. And I don't think I've ever been charged an extra $20 to play something like a PS4 version of a game versus a PS5 version of the game. I don't think I've ever seen that, so that has me like being serious.
But I imagine if you try to play Kirby, excuse me, you try and play Kirby the Switch 1 edition on Switch 2, I feel like it'll just play the Switch 1 edition. Like I don't think it's going to say like no, you can't play that on this. So like I think you'll still be able to play it.
Yeah, I know, but it's just like the fact that I have to pay for the upgrades. Like really,
the principle.
Yeah, but I mean, Sony did that.
I don't know. Anytime I picked up a game like that, it was a free upgrade for me. So I would.
Yeah, I guess I've seen
actually,
patches.
Now that I say that, I do think maybe the PS4 versions were cheaper, and sometimes I'd pick that up so I could get the free upgrade and save myself money on the PS5 version.
Well, I've seen that even with the upgrade fee. Like it would be cheaper to buy like The Last of Us Part 2 PS4 disc and then pay the $10 upgrade fee, than it would be.
That's what. Yeah, I was gonna say that's the argument I heard was like The Last of Us. Like there's the there's the normal and then there's like the remastered version, and you have to pay more for the remastered version. But
anyway, they can get you.
Yeah, it's hard to say. So,
well, I'm just glad I bought my dad that Xbox for Christmas this year. Now that
that's right.
that their consoles are all up an extra however much.
I'll just wait for Game Pass to go up too. So, because you got him a couple years, didn't you?
Yeah,
we got him like a couple. Like he's got a couple months left. But honestly, like I feel like his Xbox has been a Quake and Quake 2 machine, essentially, which is funny. But he's been playing it, so
if he's enjoying himself, that's what matters.
Definitely.
Real quick, what GameCube games do you want on the NSO? Because for me, most of them seem to be covered. Like, it's the expensive ones I don't have pretty much are all up on there.
Tales of Symphonia.
I've got most of, otherwise that's it. Those are the GameCube games I don't have. But when you think about the multiplayer, I'm like, hey, they could put Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles and then that would be an actually functioning version of the game, unlike the one they sold.
Oh, that was such a letdown. What a...
That's just punishment. That's just cruel.
They could put Gauntlet the Dark Legacy and then I could play that with people on it.
Dude, are you looking at my screen right now? I literally...
No, I'm looking at my GameCube games that are right next to me on the show.
I played Gauntlet Legends on N64, like an ungodly amount, but I never played Dark Legacy. But I was like, I know there was a Gauntlet game,
it's the Switch 2 version of the game. It's literally like it's the game, but with more classes and more worlds. So like you actually start. It's really funny when you see someone play the N64 and they come to the GameCube because they go towards the first levels, like the mountains or whatever. But in the GameCube, they added a new first area, so like it's actually go the other way.
I would love to play that. I guess for me would be like, I think I mentioned a little bit before, where like some of like the just more Mario sports games, like Toadstool Tour would be great. That's a really good golf game. Like I said, I think baseball, Mario Baseball is a fun one, and I don't know how many people really played that, but that was a really fun game. No, I think they really, I mean, right off the rip here, they definitely covered a lot of the big bangers. So, it'll be cool to see what else they do. Like we're going to get Twilight Princess at some point, who knows?
Yeah, we'll see. I guess now's probably a good spot to wrap this episode up. I'm sure we'll have more Switch 2 coverage as we go along. I know we'll have a Xenoblade X episode at some point in the future. I know it's a long game, so folks are still working on that one. But
before the launch of Switch 2, I imagine. or close to it.
Yeah. But yeah, I just want to remind everyone that the Thirsty Mage is now bi-weekly on the public feed, and if you want that extra content, you'll have to head over to the patreon.com/NW or I was looking at something else today. Patreon.com/TheThirstyMage to get into the Patreon so that you can see. We'll have a fun episode this week about RPG weapons. So if you want that weekly content, still head over to the Patreon and it'll be there. But until then, I want to thank everyone for listening, and we'll see everyone out at the next Thirsty Mage. Bye for now.
Bye.
Adios.